I'm having a talk with composer Gernot Wolfgang, who is in LA, an LA-based freelance composer, film music, art music, jazz music. We'll talk about all that stuff. And Gernot and his wife, Judith Farmer, who is principal bassoonist of the Santa Barbara Chamber Orchestra, that's what we're talking about here, have a long history with the incredible conductor Heiichiro Ohyama, who is celebrating his 30th season as conductor of the Santa Barbara Chamber Orchestra, and that alone hasn't happened since what? Since the movies of the 1940s. Everybody's always looking for young new conductors, but Heiichiro Ohyama, the orchestra loves him clearly. He's been with this orchestra 30 years. We're celebrating that with a brand new piece by Gernot called Santa Barbara Suite. Why don't we start right there? Gernot, tell me the instrumentation of the piece. This is in the program will include the Dvorak Wind Serenade and help. I forgot. Is it Mozart or there's another serenade? Oh yeah, hang on, I'll find it. The Richard Strauss Serenade. Oy oy oy. So you've got a few competitors to have to deal with. What's the instrumentation of Santa Barbara Suite? Give me a quick overview of the four movements.
Okay, instrumentation is very similar, if not identical, to the Dvorak Serenade. 2 oboes, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, contrabassoon, 3 French horns, cello, and contrabass, and one of the oboe doubles on English horn, one of the clarinet doubles on bass clarinet. And the piece is in 4 movements. The first one is called Fanfare for Heiichiro / State Street. And the fanfare obviously celebrates Heiichiro's 30th anniversary with the orchestra. And that theme of the fanfare weaves itself through the first movement, and it also comes up in the last movement, which is called La Superida. And it was, Heiichiro didn't really give me much instruction. He said, make it jazzy and make it 20 minutes. That was it.
That sounds like him, very just like.
Yeah. I like these kind of instructions. And so obviously the fanfare, like I said, celebrates Heiichiro. And then I started thinking, what else could I put in this piece? And after a little time, it became clear to me that Judy and I had so many really wonderful experiences in Santa Barbara that I was going to go back and remember, what are the places that we love going to, what are the things that we do up there. And then it sort of came together. For instance, State Street is about a routine of mine. Whenever I come up to Santa Barbara to hear the orchestra, when they play in the Libero, while Judy's rehearsing with the orchestra, I walk down State Street to the ocean and back. And so the piece really mirrors that, or at least that segment of the first movement mirrors that. It starts out very urban with a funk groove and lots of busyness. You can sort of, it reflects the activity of the street, with lots of people walking, conversations, music coming out of open restaurants and so forth. And then, once we're past the underpass, the piece quiets down. And it still keeps moving. And, once we reach the ocean, it comes to a halt. And then it turns around, literally. And we end up back in the busy mode of the urban part of State Street.
That's the most fascinating way to describe an ABA form I've ever heard in my life. Now, what about the second movement?
Second movement is called Tea at the Biltmore, and that one had its origins way back when we didn't even live in this country. We were still living in Austria. We took a trip up the coast, a two-week California trip. It was part of a 2-week California trip, and a friend of mine had connected us with a friend of his who lived in Santa Barbara, and he said, "Okay, let's meet at the Biltmore, and chat." So we had tea there, and we absolutely fell in love with the place and with the idea. So whenever we have a chance, we treat ourselves to go to the Biltmore and have some tea. And the movement is, I would say, a tongue-in-cheek waltz. It sort of observes the whole scene from the point of view of a fly on the wall, overhearing lots of conversations of people, observing a variety of characters. That's pretty much what the second movement is all about. The third one is called Moon over Santa Barbara, and it has to do with the Spanish heritage of Santa Barbara and with as it expresses itself in the architecture, the mission style public buildings and residences, and that's something that always has impressed me. And so the movement has some Spanish influences. The English horn is the main voice. And I did get a little bit into textures, that are related to what Gil Evans did with Miles Davis in Sketches of Spain. So, and that's the one quiet movement of the piece. And the third one is a friend of us the fourth movement is La Superica. That's, of course, a friend of ours had turned us on to go to this place. And again, we just fell in love, and we just think it's a lot of fun, and the food is great. And while I know that La Superica has Mexican cuisine, and always, for some reason, I always had a feeling of a broader picture of Latin America when I was there. So so I'm taking some artistic license, and the music is more like a salsa as opposed to a mariachi. So that's pretty much the story of Santa Barbara Suite.
Let me do a little overview then of what I've just heard. Let's see. First of all, you got plenty of work for all of Judy's friends in the wind departments in L.A. and Santa Barbara for this piece. Second, you do a grand tour of Santa Barbara, all of its good juicy variety and all that good stuff. What was I going to ask here? Hang on a second. Now, I presume Heiichiro has already received the score. And,
yes, he has. Yeah.
And we know that he will thoroughly digest this piece in all of its detail. I'm trying to imagine him doing a little bit of salsa, but conducting, but we'll see. And the piece runs 20 minutes. But you know what? I forgot all of the beginning stuff, so I'm going to go through that just so everybody knows. It's a pretty good crowd of people in Southern California watching. I don't know how you could put out a better publicity for Santa Barbara, for taking an afternoon, let's say, and coming up to Santa Barbara on Tuesday. Here's the part I forgot. Tuesday, March 18th at Hahn Hall at the gorgeous campus of the Music Academy of the West at 7:30 in the evening, Tuesday, March 18th. Santa Barbara Chamber Orchestra playing its concert in honor of Heiichiro Ohyama's 30th season. Conducting that orchestra, world premiere of Gernot Wolfgang's new piece, Santa Barbara Suite, which he has just described. This is really going to be something. Let's just go. I'm going to get just a quick little business about, for example, when exactly did you move? You're Austrian. When did you move to America?
Well, to Los Angeles, I came in 1993 to do the film scoring program at USC. I had been in Boston before on Fulbright from 87 through 89. That's where I really got interested in film music, really, because they offered a really, really good film scoring program.
Yes.
But then I went back to Graz, where I had studied and worked at the jazz department, taught some ensemble and theory and harmony and so forth. But I thought, I really want to give it a shot. So better sooner than later. After the '93 year at USC, we were trying to decide, where should we live? Should we live here or in Vienna? And it really took us until '96 to make a decision. But in 1996, Judy moved over, we got married, and we've been living here ever since.
Fabulous. And having a career in Los Angeles, in my view, is finally really coming of age as a world-class city. It's really starting to thrive.
Absolutely.
And hum. Yeah, absolutely exciting. You know what, with some due credit to our friend Gustavo Dudamel coming to Los Angeles, and suddenly the whole world is watching. Let me just ask a little. I've heard a couple of interviews. I've listened to some of your music. I love Vine Street Express, the Camerata Pacifica here at Santa Barbara. Beautiful performance of Vine Street Express, which expresses all of that, this jazz influence in your life and so on. All very important art, music, to speak to that other side of your personality. But what I'm wondering is there any kind of, was there, and I know that but let's just talk for a minute about being a late bloomer. You sort of made this decision at the age of 24. I'm interviewing people and they're saying, oh, well, I began at 3. Oh, yes, well, I became a virtuoso at 3.5. So tell me, what is that like, and what were you before you decided to change your life entirely?
Well, I wasn't really that much into music during high school. Actually, I chose art instead of music. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, so I took the rational route, and computer programming was just beginning to get big at that point. So I decided to study that. I did 6 semesters of that. And but at the same time, when I was about 17 or 18, I heard some recordings on the radio by Oscar Peterson and also Wes Montgomery, and I thought, Jesus, this music is absolutely fantastic. I want to have something to do with it. So, I got myself a jazz guitar, and at the age of 19, I had been playing around a little bit, so it was not like I started there, but I did get my first lesson at the age of 19. And it became a hobby, playing the jazz guitar. I played with various ensembles in Innsbruck, Austria. But it became more and more and more important. So at some point, I thought, how am I going to be happy in life? Happiest, am I becoming a computer programming, or I'm going to take the plunge and go into music? So I decided to go into music and studied at the jazz department in Graz, and as you said, much later than most other people. And while I was studying the guitar, I became more and more interested in writing and arranging. So my major ended up being jazz composition and arrangement in Graz, Austria. When I was done with that, I applied. I wanted to go to America to, get more education and also live here, see what it's like. So I applied for Fulbright. I got it. Went to Berklee College of Music with the intention of, learning more about jazz and going deeper with it. And found out that my teacher at Graz had been absolutely world class, which I knew anyway, and so I was just going to do the same thing all over again. So I was looking for a major that would expose me to something that I had no idea about, and film scoring was the thing that looked most attractive on paper. So I did that, and I really got into it. And not only did I get interested in film music, I was also exposed to the standard repertoire of the 20th century, like Stravinsky, Ravel, Shostakovich, Debussy, Bartók, all these wonderful composers. That began interesting me more and more. So, when I went back to Austria, and my wife Judy was playing at the radio orchestra in Vienna, and they had always extremely contemporary programming. I think 75% of the programming was 20th century. So I was exposed to, really, to Stockhouse and Xenakis, Lachenmann, and all these composers as well. So, at one point, I got a chamber music commission, at first. So, I tried my luck at that, really. And I found out what fascinated me was to find a way to insert all this jazz that I had been doing up to this point into that medium in a way that it would feel natural to a classically trained musician, but however that the result clearly expresses the jazz feeling that's in there. So that really piqued my interest, and after I came to LA, I really came here to be a full-time film composer, and I worked on I did an indie first couple of years when I was here, I worked on some TV series. I went to work for the film composer Christopher Young as his assistant, and had a chance to work on some really nice projects like in Entrapment and Rounders and Urban Legend and so forth. So I cut my teeth there, and in the off days, I was always at home writing chamber music because I wanted to pursue that somehow, even as still as a hobby. And then the whole thing sort of started growing. I got commissions here, I got recordings here, I got really good feedback for what I was doing, so I thought, maybe I should take this more seriously. And fast forward present day, now 50% of my work is writing concert music, either on commission or for my own projects whenever I do SCD, and the other half is I orchestrate for other composers in film and video games.
And lest we put out the wrong message to the world at large, what you have just described is not easy.
No, it's not easy, because it would be easy to, nothing's easy, but at least it would be easier to just focus on one thing. And then, you could put all your resources in whatever that one thing is and be really focused on that. And in my case, it seems to be that at all points of time, there were always two things that I was interested in, and trying to fuse those. And of course, you need to cut yourself in half and, take care of everything as good as you can.
Yep, and what I actually meant was it's not easy to get into film work in Los Angeles. Let's just make everybody stop packing. You just don't arrive, as Gernot did, and had extraordinary, wonderful, fabulous luck with a little help from USC and the wonderful programming in film and television music composition. But fabulous career, and just in case you need a little quote out there, and then I'm going to repeat the ticket numbers, and we're done. We've pretty much eaten up 15 minutes. It's Gramophone Magazine. You know this quote from your website. Gramophone Magazine, a winning sonic arsenal. Well, we'll see about that. Next Tuesday, March 18th at 7:30 in the evening, Hahn Hall, on the glorious campus of the Music Academy of the West, the world premiere of Santa Barbara Suite, which is has been commissioned by the Santa Barbara Chamber Orchestra, by one of their great, wonderful, supportive patrons of Gernot, and it is in honor of conductor Heiichiro Ohyama's 30th year on the podium with that fabulous professional chamber orchestra in our community. Gernot, many, many thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time this morning, and I will look forward very much if they can let me in. I don't know. You better hurry, folks. Let me give you a phone number. Those of you in Southern California, you're already planning the luncheon. Maybe you'll stop by the Biltmore for a little tea that afternoon, Tuesday the 18th of March. But the phone number for tickets is at the Chamber Orchestra office itself. It's area code 805-966-2441. And by the way, go up to the website for Gernot Wolfgang, Gernot, Wolfgang, as in Amadeus, and have a look at his website, have a look at his music on YouTube. What a wonderful device YouTube is for us all. The phone number again for Santa Barbara Chamber Orchestra tickets, Tuesday, March 18th, area code 805-966-2441. And the Chamber Orchestra website is simply sbco.org. You can buy your tickets right there on site. Sorry about the promo there. Gernot, finally, again, thanks very, very much for giving me some of your time. Looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.